back to the Makers Gonna Learn YouTube channel.
Happy Tuesday. And we are coming to you at a little different time today. We're a little early. Hope that doesn't throw you all off. But we have a lot of fun things happening here in the office.
Yes, we had a really good meeting this morning. It was like quick, but really good. Lots of fun, like exciting things happening. I feel like during the Christmas and holiday season, there's a lot more, you know, like hustle and bustle, but like good.
Yeah.
So we were talking about that all morning this morning, and we're also going to be doing a Christmas craft today. Big surprise. Y'all know we're here for the Christmas crafts.
Always here for the Christmas crafts.
So we're going to be working with paper today, showing you guys a little hack to avoid using Mod Podge, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever thought of this, honestly, like superb creativity.
Superb.
I don't think of things in that way. We were talking about this the other day, like, I'm creative in a way where I can see something and like build off of it. I don't just like sprout it out of my own noggin usually. I mean, very rarely. Like every once in a while, I feel like when we did the citrus strip, that was a perfect example of how my brain works. Because I saw it, but then we like took it another step. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyways, this is a really cool hack. I hope that you guys are going to love it.
So speaking of some exciting news, because we were told that we could kind of, you know, let you guys in a little bit. Drop a hinty hint.
Yeah.
This is something that, you know, tomorrow, big day. Big day coming up tomorrow.
Yes.
Make sure you are back here at noon tomorrow. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
So we're not doing, I think we had a live schedule that was like the 5 DIY gifts that everyone wants.
Yeah.
We're not doing that one anymore. We pushed it.
Y'all will be happy about it though.
You'll be so happy. Another thing that we are pushing is we are pushing back the release. Not a lot. We're literally just pushing it back to next Monday.
The sublimation.
The sublimation is getting pushed. Y'all are still getting it. I promise. Y'all are still getting it. It's ready. But we have bigger news.
Right.
That has to, that we are going to talk to you guys about tomorrow.
We're spreading the cheer.
Yes.
Spreading the holiday cheer.
Yes. So, and this is something that y'all have been waiting for a very long time.
I mean, I don't know when it started, but it's been
It
a while.
started a long time ago.
Yeah. So make sure y'all are here. And if you're like, I'm not going to remember, turn your notifications on beside the subscribe button. There's a tiny little bell. Just hit it. And then that way when we post, your phone's going to be like, or your computer will be like, hey, they're live.
For sure.
So that's the best way to keep up with us.
So before we get crafty, the stuff that we're going to be doing today, so we are using a file or a font?
We're using both.
Oh.
Both.
So for this craft, if you want to make it in its entirety, we are using Makers Gonna Learn files and fonts. If you are new to our channel or you want to use these files and fonts, you all can become a member right now using the code BEST. Y'all jumping in right now gets you grandfathered in at the lowest price. I feel like I've talked about this. Getting in right now is key.
I would join now if I were not joined already. That would be, right now would be when I would do it.
And strictly from an inside perspective, do it now.
The time has come. The time is now.
Do it now. Plus, not only do you get to join at our very lowest rate, but you also get the free Cricut reference guide, which I have right here.
Handy dandy.
This is going to make you a Cricut master. It's going to take you from a novice to a master, and this reference guide is great to refer back to. We have talked about this. It does have all of the new design space functions in it, so we're really proud of this. This is also going to get uploaded as a PDF for those. But you do, if you are already grandfathered in or you are getting grandfathered in, you get these for free, plus another little gift that will be sent to you guys.
Love it. Lots of cute little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people don't know what an Easter egg is.
Let's explain what an Easter egg is.
Let's do it.
So we've had this question. Carol, I'm calling you out. People are like, well, what's an Easter egg? So an Easter egg is something that you all need to look for that we might be using or might be seeing on the table. That might be a little hint to what your free gift is or what some of the free gifts could be.
Right.
Keep an eye out for those.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways, that's exciting for us. I like to just plug them in there. But this is kind of a lengthy craft.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's easy, but we're going to get started now. Also, I'm wearing pleather pants. I'm wearing pleather leggings today, so when I sit in those acrylic seats, it's like squeaky. Megan said Carol's not even here. Oh, she'll watch it. She'll rewatch it back. Okay, so if you haven't received your gift yet, they're coming. We promise. We are on top of it. It's just us, like our little team. Sadie has been very diligent on shipping things out, so it will be there. But let's go ahead and jump into supplies. So if we can go overhead, we kind of have a lot going on here, but it's really a simple craft. It just takes a while. So let me show you what we're making first of all. So this is a Dollar Tree tray. Cute, right? Like it was $5.
So it's in the Dollar Tree Plus section.
Yes, it's like the $3 to $5 aisle. And we are going to be using a Maker's Gonna Learn font as well as a file. And then this is just a basic shape and design space that we're going to be using to cut. But you are going to need some scrapbook paper. So I linked some scrapbook paper for you all. I could not find these exact ones, and I'm so sorry, but I really did try. These are the 8x8 sheets that I used on the first project, and then today I'm going to be using some 12x12 sheets in this green and black. This is the vibe of the Bell House Christmas decor.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel like there's not, the amber color's not in here, but like the greens and the dark, moody Christmas is like kind of in this year. Also, I'm matching it on accident. It was totally unplanned. So I'm going to be using these colors today. And I'm going to show you all how to cut and lay out everything if you're using 8x8 squares or 12x12 squares. So don't worry if that's all you've got.
And really and truly, correct me if I'm wrong, Alicia, but most of this stuff, other than maybe the tray, you all already have at home.
I do not doubt it. And not only that, but you don't have to do this technique on a tray.
No.
Like you could do it on literally like on a plaque or like anything wooden really you could do it on. So you're gonna need some plastic wrap. A lot of people on the internet are controversial about this. They say that you need to use true saran wrap. I'm here to tell you I use Dollar Tree plastic wrap and it literally does the exact same thing. So Dollar Tree again, y'all know the Dollar Tree comes through for us. I've got a classic gray. I did a gray today, but this is Jacobine. This dark brown is a Jacobine stain, which is like a little bit darker. I just wanted to do gray to pull in the colors of the other scrapbook paper. I've got vinyl gloves, parchment paper, not in a box, sorry about that. I've got a weeding tool, a burnishing tool, a pen tool, because this design right here, y'all, I am not gonna sugarcoat. It was not easy and fun to weed. It was not a good time, but we did it. But a pen tool, if you don't know what a pen tool, it's like a little tiny, not needle, but like a little needle sticking out right there. It's for very fine weeding. And then I've just got a regular weeding tool. We've got our tried and true Decoupage light grip mat because we are going to be cutting scrapbook paper, and a light grip mat is really good for that. Pair of scissors, a measuring tool of some sort. I've got some light grit sandpaper. This is 220, so it'll say very fine. The higher the number, the finer the grit. I have a paper cutter just in case. And then we've got our tray, which I stained yesterday because I wanted it to cure overnight. Whenever we apply HTV to wood, it needs to cure probably longer than that, honestly, but I put a very thin coat of stain on this. So I'm gonna walk you through how to actually sand and stain this before we get started. Even though I've already done it, I want to show you all how to do it. But let's get all this stuff off the table because
there's a lot.
There's a lot.
If you need to put some stuff over here with me, you can.
I'll just put it right here on the ground. I feel like this is a good spot, right?
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna need our stain. We're gonna need our sanding. We're gonna need this.
I'm surprised you didn't go with Early American.
Y'all, listen, Early American's my favorite. I stain everything early American. I don't have a problem.
Was this one Jacobine?
This is Jacobine. Jacobine and early American are my favorite. And honestly, I'm looking at this and I'm feeling like it's espresso. There's a dark stain that's very similar to Jacobine.
Or is that's not the gel stain, is it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I did it like 2 months ago. Also, you need a little mini heat press. This is going to be for the front of our thingy. So let's move this stuff out of the way. That way you guys can just focus on what I'm doing right now. So what you're going to need to do is get you some fine grit sanding paper. Oh, white HTV. You're going to need that too, or whatever color HTV you're going to be putting on your wood tray. So we're going to need gloves. I'm going to go ahead and put these gloves on. I'm going to act like we're going to do the whole thing, but I've actually already stained the entire thing. And then what you're going to do is take your sanding paper. So I'm just going to take a strip of this. And if you all buy these and you didn't know, you can just tear these apart. That way you're not wasting a whole piece of sandpaper. Like, I don't need to pull this entire thing out. I can literally rip this off. And what you're gonna do is go through and lightly sand everything. So you're just gonna go all the way around. And it's already pretty smooth because this is like a purchasable product, if that makes sense. Like, they've already pretty much sanded everything down. We just want to make sure, especially if there's like stickers on your wood, that you are sanding off where there was sticker residue, because it will not stain. If you've got, if there was a price sticker on here and I didn't sand it, whenever I go to stain it, it's going to resist the stain. You'll have like a giant square wherever the sticker was. So don't want to do that. I didn't stain the bottom because, like, we don't really need to. And then after I sanded it, I went ahead and took masking tape and just kind of did one thin, can y'all see the masking tape there? It's the same color as the tape. Can they see that? Sadie? Is it? So you can use painter's tape or masking tape, and I just put a row all on this inner, or this outer edge. And then what you're gonna do, you can just take a paper towel. A lot of people are like, a paper towel to stain? That's just what I do, okay? You can use a cloth, like an old t-shirt or a paper towel. And then you're gonna open your stain up, dip it in, and then we're just gonna rub this all the way around. I went around the outside first, like stained all of the outside, and then I'll come on the inside and stain all of this. And now, the reason I put that down there is because I want my saran wrap to be in here, and I don't want the stain to prevent the saran wrap from sticking to the wood. So that's why I put the tape inside here. Is everybody good? Are we following?
I think so. We don't have a lot of comments right now. I think they're really like honing into what you're saying.
Okay, that's good. Well, if y'all have questions, let me know. I went ahead and did that because I didn't want us to have to wait, you know, for it to cure and all that business.
Well, first of all, when you're working with a stain, especially an oil-based stain, and you're wanting anything to stick to it, it's gonna have to cure for 24 hours or more.
Right.
So that's why that was a step that she did yesterday to kind of prep all of this.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious to, because I don't know that they understand or they know, and I didn't get to see this process either.
Okay.
Explain to us what you are doing with the saran wrap.
Okay, so let's jump into that part. So, because it's kind of part of like the instruction, and so I'm just gonna explain it as I'm showing you all how to do it. So what we wanna do first is go ahead, we've stained this, it sat overnight, you let it sit overnight, it needs to cure completely. Make sure that your side that you're putting your HTV on is completely wiped off the next day. That way there's no excess stain. And then we're gonna go ahead and remove any of our masking or painter's tape. I'm just taking my weeding tool to pull this up. And if you get a little bit of stain on this inside part, it's not a big deal. You don't wanna have a whole bunch, because we're gonna be putting saran wrap under here, and it's gonna act as an adhesive for our paper. So that's what Lauren was wanting to know, and I'm sure you all are like, why is she using saran wrap? It's basically like our Mod Podge alternative. So the saran wrap is substituting in for the Mod Podge. So normally, if you're a paper crafter and you do crafts like this, you would apply a layer of Mod Podge. Well, today we're gonna be applying a layer of saran wrap.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's our hack. And you all can tell probably in this one, like, this is attached, but it's not wrinkly. If you're familiar at all and you use Mod Podge to seal your projects, you'll know that whenever you apply the Mod Podge and stick it on, sometimes your paper will like shrivel up or like wrinkle up.
Because it's too wet. Because when paper gets wet, what does it do?
Right, it
wrinkles up.
draws up, yeah. So we're gonna actually be using saran wrap. We saw this on a TikTok. We did not come up with this, and we were like, OMG, we have to do a project. So what we're gonna do, let's go ahead. I wanna do the design space portion of this for you all before we actually start to craft, if that makes sense. Like I want us to get all of the elements that we need, and then we'll assemble. So let's jump into design space. I was charging our mouse. Our mouse dies all the time. I thought I charged him yesterday, but we're fixing to find out.
We're fixing to find out.
We're fitting to find out, y'all. Does anybody have questions yet? If y'all are interested in a pen tool, I don't know if I linked a pen tool down there, but
we get them from 143.
Yes,
there's a great place to get those. But also, like, definitely come back tomorrow at noon, because hinty hint, we might be giving some stuff away.
Yeah.
And we might decide we want to give a pen tool away. I don't know.
We might. Who knows? Okay, so let me find my file that I was working on yesterday. Honestly, y'all.
Okay, while you're looking for that, Patty, do not be confused. We've really not done anything yet. All she did was explain the process of staining this tray.
Yep.
We've not really jumped into the design space portion yet. The whole meat of this project is just now fixing to come up.
Right.
She went over the supplies that you may want to go back and look at, but right now, from here forward is where you really need to get out your notebook and your pencil if you want to take notes.
Yes.
And now we're getting into the meat of the project.
Yes, so we're using a Dollar Tree wood tray. All we've done is stain the outside, and now we're in design space. And so it took me a little bit of finagling. I'm gonna kind of walk you all through like the mental process it took me to figure out how to lay these little are they octagons? Let's see.
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, or what's 6?
Hexagon.
They're hexagons. I keep calling them on.
Do you want to know what a 7-sided one is? Heptagon.
Heptagon. I said septa. What's a septa then? What would that be? Did I just make that up? Is that not a real one?
I don't know that.
Do you know that I got kicked out of the 5th grade spelling bee for misspelling hexapod? And what is a hexapod? I have a bone to pick. Does anyone know? I don't even know. I'm 30. I have no idea what a hexapod is. And I got kicked out of the spelling bee.
A pod with 5 sides?
I spelled hexagon because I was like, what? They didn't say hexapod. You know, I didn't ask them to repeat it. I guess that was my mistake. But anyways, okay, so we're gonna be using basic shapes to lay out our quilt pattern. And if you all didn't gather, I'm kind of trying to imitate like a quilt, like a patchwork quilt situation. So we're gonna be using the hexagon, and I'm just using basic shapes. And I'm also gonna be pulling in a square. And what you're gonna need to do is measure your tray or measure whatever surface that you're applying this to. So we're gonna go ahead and get our measurements overhead. So this is 13.5 by, let's see.
Is it a septagon? Now I'm
9.5.
Now
You're unsure?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I mismeasured that because my 0 is right here. Okay. This is...
A heptagon is 7.
Heptagon is 7. Mm-hmm. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, 10.5 by, let's see here, 14.5. 10.5 by 14.5.
So,
okay, back in design space, unlock that, and we're gonna change this to 14.5 by 10.5. Okay, what is it, Lauren? Tell us.
I'm just Googling.
She's good. I'm just Googling. Okay, I'm gonna change this to a guide function. So my square is selected. I'm gonna go up to operation, and right now you can see it's at basic cut, but I want this to be a guide so I can lay my hexagons on it. So this way we kind of have a base, like foundation to design around, which I really like to do. Now, I wanna have 4 of these little guys from top to bottom. So I'm gonna duplicate this, and remember, the smaller you make them, the more you're gonna have to cut, which is totally fine. If you want it to be way more busy, go for it. I wanted like a happy medium. Like I wanted it to look like a patchwork quilt. So I needed to have enough, but I didn't want it to be tiny because like time consuming, very time consuming. And I am selecting all 4 of my hexagons, and I'm just going to pull those down. Now, I will say, do not do this with your shapes unlocked. I want to show you why. So if I selected all 4 of these, and my little thing up here was unlocked, whenever I go to resize them, they're warping, and the angles are not gonna mesh as well together. So like, I mean, I guess they technically would, but it's gonna look weird. It's gonna start looking a little like warped and wonky, and y'all, that is like my design pet peeve. I literally cannot. You have to lock your shapes. Do not ever unlock your shapes. Just don't do it. Don't unlock your fonts. If the font doesn't fit, change it. It's like I'll soapbox, honestly. We won't though. So anyways, I'm just going to stretch those out. So we've got 4 in a row, and then I'm gonna select them all again and line them up. So I'm gonna go to align and center horizontally to make sure they are perfectly aligned. And then what I'm gonna do is just bump this over here all the way to the left side, and then we can duplicate, and I'm gonna move it. So you can't duplicate it and touch it right to there because you can see the diamonds, it's making a diamond shape in between. So what you have to do is kind of bump it down a row, okay? And just butt it up as close as you can. And then I'm gonna duplicate again. And we're just gonna work our way across. Are y'all with me still? Everybody there?
They seem to be. We're having a heated discussion in the everybody's having discussions about heptagon, septagon, and a hexapod. So a hexapod is an insect group. A 6-legged arthropod is an insect group.
I'm glad. Did y'all know that without Googling it? I bet you didn't.
And also, heptagon and septagon are interchangeable words. Heptagon is used more in geometry. So that's where I come from, my geometry brain, because geometry was one of my.
Because you used heptagon, and I said septagon.
But it's still a 7-sided figure with a 7-sided polygon with 7 angles.
Well, heck far.
There you go.
Learn something new every day. Okay. All right. So I've got all of these. I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and make an extra row. Now, you're gonna have to, like these outer ones, we're gonna have to go through and trim up. I tried to do a situation where anything that was overlapping the square guide, I was like, oh, I'll just slice it all off. But as you all know, you can only slice 2 images at a time. You can only slice 2 layers. And so obviously I'm using 4 there, and even if we sliced all the ones, I mean, you would have to individually go around and slice each one, and I'm just gonna tell you, it'd be easier for you to cut it with scissors or a paper trimmer, which is what I used. So that's what I did. We just wanna make sure we have enough to cover our entire piece. So we're wanting to go a little bit over our guideline, and I'll bring it to the front just so you all can see how much we're going over. Like, let me just bring this to the front. So you can see on the right side here, my hexagons, right? Hexagon.
Okay, can I ask a question now?
Yeah.
So now, because you did this before the new design space functions, correct?
Yes.
So could you bring your square to the front, have everything overlapping, so
like, you know, go ahead and fill it in.
Go ahead and fill it in.
Okay. Let's
go
do
ahead
it,
and fill everything
because I know
in.
where you're going. I'm gonna keep going. You keep explaining.
So what she's doing now is filling everything in. So my thing was, if we did this, change your guide to a basic shape, bring it to the front, select it, and then each little thing that's hanging over the edge. So you would have to do it individually.
You would have to duplicate your square, right?
Huh?
Duplicate your square a bunch?
No. Not necessarily.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And then exclude each one so the one on the outside is cut off and you're not slicing and reattaching and everything else.
Let's try it. Let's do it. We'll do it with one side and see what we think, and then reevaluate. We'll do it with this left side because they're so little, and it would be nice if they were already cut for me. Okay. Oops, that is not lined up. Okay. Here we go. Here we go.
Now select your guide.
Okay, so my guide.
Change it to a basic cut.
Okay.
Okay. Bring it to the front.
Bring to the front.
I can't with myself right now.
Lauren's about to say a dirty word.
I about said a wordy dirt and didn't really mean to. Okay, now select your square.
Okay.
Now let's just select one of the, now go down to your functions and you're going to exclude what is.
We want intersect.
We want, intersect.
We're still learning the functions, y'all. We don't, okay, combine. And intersect's gonna leave whatever is crossed over. So it would leave our little baby. But then our square disappears.
I know, but that's not what I was thinking.
Well,
like I was thinking that it would just exclude that on the outside. Is there one that just excludes that?
I mean, you could technically slice it and then like just select the square again and then select this and slice it. Yeah, we can do this. You can do it this way. And that's what I was saying earlier, like feel free. For me, it was
just simpler to...
Yeah, mainly because it turns into a puzzle when you get all those little triangles. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I got it, yeah.
But so you can definitely do it this way. If you want to be really exact, this would be the way to do it. So we're just selecting this rectangle and then selecting an individual hexagon and then slicing it off. And so I'm just going to do that. Let's just do it for the sake of, like, we've already started it and it's really not taking us that long.
Okay.
And I'm just moving the piece I don't need. That way I can kind of keep it organized. So we're just selecting the rectangle, selecting one hexagon, and then slicing it. And then that way, we've just got the piece that we need. Y'all following? Oopsie, I moved it. Oh wait, no I didn't. Okay. Select, and then I'm holding the shift key down and then hitting the hexagon. That's allowing me to select multiple layers at a time.
Right.
So click on the rectangle, hold the shift key down, select the hexagon, hit slice, move the excess. I'm going to move those both. So this is actually going pretty quickly. I hope
this is not any more confusing for you guys.
They'll see when I move the rectangle what
So we are only slicing two, Patty, but see the square, we're not slicing in the same area. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's not, so now she can move the square.
Okay, ready?
And there you go.
And so all of these are going to be fitting perfectly inside of our tray. Did that make sense? So Patty, I don't know if you saw whenever we were just selecting just the square and just the hexagon. So you have to do one hexagon with the square at a time and just work your way around.
Yeah.
And then if you're not comfortable and you're still confused, you can cut your own little triangles. Just go ahead and cut all of your hexagons in their fullness, and then you can trim them down according to where you need to fill in on your tray. So I'm going to delete all of these because we don't need them. And I'll be
Did you know
what?
That you can select more than two shapes and do the combined features?
You can select more.
You can select more than two shapes.
Okay, let's test it then.
I'm just
gonna like add
three shapes together.
Yeah, let's just like
y'all. This is not. We're not trying to confuse you. We are not trying to confuse you. Please. This is something we learn with you guys. Stephanie, I know we might be. I know we're confused now, but we're just. So we have three shapes here.
Okay.
Select them all. And just hit any of them. What did it just do?
To intersect two or more selected layers, at least a portion or all must overlap. Try moving one or more layer, then try again.
Okay.
Okay, at least.
So like have the heart touch one side. There you go. So now you just have the little place where all three of them touched.
Okay, so I don't think we could do that with what we just did.
No, I'm just saying.
But that's a good to know. That's good to know.
You can use those functions with more than two shapes.
Listen, that's some design space interception crap. I can't, or inception.
Inception, yeah.
Design space interception. I don't know. We don't need to use that for this, but that's good to know.
We don't.
Whoever was saying that, that's great.
Well, I don't know that I think it was, somebody said, I think you can subtract.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, I've not tried to do it with more than 2 shapes. Why not try it?
Yeah.
So then I got on Design Space while you all were going over that and
To test it out.
to test it myself, and you can use more than 2 shapes with the new functions now.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we've got our little quilt laid out, let's go over to the Makers Gonna Learn website. If you're new here and you have not visited our website, it's makersgonnalearn.com. We keep your eyes open for the update tomorrow. So we're gonna be just doing
okay,
some,
yeah.
We're just doing some updates.
Just some updates.
So go ahead and select North Pole script. That's what we're using today, which is funny because we're literally putting North Pole Co. Or what do we put? North Pole Trading Company. North Pole Trading Company. I'm going to go ahead and download that to the computer. It's going to come in a zip file, and you're just going to double click on this, and then you're going to select it right here, and you're going to have to hit install. Okay. Now the font is on our computer, but we need it on to Design Space. So I'm going to go back to Design Space. I'm going to save my project as Quilt Tray or whatever you want to call it into my projects. Make sure you save your project before you reload your Design Space, or else you'll lose your work. And we just did a lot of really good work, so we don't want to mess up. And I'm going to hit View and Reload. That's how you install a font into Design Space. So then you're going to need to go make a text box, and we can go ahead and change our font from this font drop-down menu. You're going to want to go to System Fonts. If you try to search North Pole in Cricut fonts, you're not going to find it. Make sure you select System, and there it is. So we just need to change this to say whatever you want. It doesn't have to say North Pole Trading Co. I just thought that was cute.
I love that.
Santa Claus Trading Company. I don't know. Whatever you want. Whatever your heart desires. Okay? And then what we need to do is measure where we're putting our words. Okay? Can y'all see that good? Okay, so I'm just going to take our little handy dandy tape measure, and this is 15 inches long by 1.5 inches tall. So I'm going to go ahead back into Design Space. I'm going to make a rectangle that's that size. This is just how I like to lay out my text. That way I know it's all going to fit, and I can see how it's going to fit on there, if that makes sense. Let's change this to a light gray. That way we can see it. We said 15 inches by 2.5 or 1.5.
Yeah.
1.5. Okay, we've got this little baby right here. I'm going to send it to the back, and then you can see, let's move it down so y'all can see what the heck's going on. Bring it to the front. Okay, or not. Hold on, everybody. Let me move this out of the way. Okay. Design Space acting crazy. Okay, and then I'm going to select both of these and align them horizontally. You could just leave it like this. And listen, if you don't want to weed this sweater pattern, just stay here. Just don't do any more. Just stop here. It was hurting my brain yesterday trying to weed this. I don't remember it being so hard to weed yesterday or the day that I did it. Yesterday it was hard though. And what we're going to do next is go to our cut files and find this Christmas sweater pattern. I want to say it's called Christmas sweater.
Does it say Chrysler?
Mary Chrysler. I think it's Christmas sweater. Can you look on the link and see what it's called, Lauren?
Yes, ma'am.
I looked at it yesterday, and now I'm like, is that right? So we're going to search.
Christmas sweater pattern. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, pattern. I didn't put pattern. We have like thousands of Christmas files, y'all.
So just FYI.
If you just type in Christmas sweater, it's going to give you a Christmas sweater.
It's going to give you a Christmas sweater.
You're going to find one for sure. Okay.
So if you are new to our channel, we have thousands of cut files.
Hundreds of fonts. Okay, I'm going to download this Christmas pattern. This is the one we're using. We're going to slice it and dice it. It's going in as a zip file as usual. You're going to unlock it, and it's an SVG. So let's pull up Design Space. We're going to go to Upload, Upload Image. I'm going to pull this down, Where did it go? Okay. Let's pull it down a little bit more, and then I'm gonna pull in the SVG, just drag and drop. Okay, and then we're gonna upload it. All right, so this is the image that we need for the front. I'm just gonna be using like a portion of this. I'm only using this middle portion. Excuse me. So you can take a square or a rectangle. I'm gonna use this little square right here and just stretch it out. I'm gonna go ahead and unlock it, and then I'm going to pull it all the way across. And you're just covering what you want. So I'm covering this row, and then these 3 stars, I'm gonna cover all of that. And then we're gonna select it all and slice it out. And listen, I tend to go back to my old school functions. You can use the combined functions. I'm trying to use them more. It's just, I'm used to the slice function.
I get it.
You get it. I'm sure all y'all get it. You're probably like, yeah, me too. That's what I do. Okay, so we just need 1 layer. And then what I'm gonna do, and I just realized what I did. I need the row beneath it as well. So I'm undoing. I'm Command-Zing.
Okay.
So.
Command-Z it one more time.
Do I need to? Yep.
Yep.
Command-Z is your undo function.
So now stretch it.
Yeah, let me unlock it so it'll let me warp. Okay, that's the only time you can unlock your shapes, everybody. That's the only exception. When you're slicing, you can unlock your shapes. I'll allow it. Okay, select it all, slice it out, and then we have our little sweater pattern by itself. Okay, there we go. Bravo. Let's look. Let me look and see what I did. Okay, so here I actually only used, can y'all see, I only used 2 little stars. Whatever you want. The more stars you use, the smaller your design's gonna get. So I'm going to slice off one of the stars. So I'm just gonna take another basic shape, just how we did, and I'm gonna slice off this edge, because we don't really, just find a good, there we go. Select them both, slice them. And then we don't need any of that left side. We just need this guy. And you can see here, there's like a little tiny sliver. You can technically contour those out. You would just select the image and hit contour and then select whatever you don't want.
Or you can just weed them out.
Or you can just weed them out, which is what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do today. You can just weed it off. It's probably gonna come off anyways because it's so tiny. And you're just gonna shrink this down so that it fits really good right here. And then I'm gonna duplicate it and pull one over here as well. So this is our design. Cute, right? And you can even shrink this a little bit if you want to. Okay, that's it. Okay, any questions? Any question? Because we just finished the design space portion, basically. That's pretty much it.
So then what you would need to do is delete out that square behind that, right?
Yeah, okay, let's go to the, we'll go to the make it portion. We'll finish. Okay, so delete that. And then you're gonna want to, this is gonna come out to 14.7. I normally would say go ahead and attach everything together, but it's gonna want you to use like a longer mat. We don't wanna use a longer mat. So I'm gonna make all this the same color, at least. It's on the basic cut function. I'm gonna make it all white, because we're cutting it in white, but I'm not gonna attach anything.
Okay.
That's personal preference. If you have a long mat and you've got a long strip of white HTV, do it.
Okay, so my next question.
Okay.
When it comes to cutting your hexagons, do you just use a full sheet of paper and let it cut all of the ones and then you arrange it the way you want it with the different patterns?
This is a very crucial part of the tutorial. I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to make it. You can do this a few different ways. You're gonna select on mat. Okay, we've got this fine and dandy. We're using HTV, so we wanna mirror our image, so make sure you're mirroring. And then when it mirrors, it flips everything like to that side. So I'm just gonna kind of pull it all over. And then you're gonna see whenever you come over to this part that everything is looking crazy, okay? if you're using 12 by 12 sheets, this isn't going to be like that big of a deal, if that makes sense. Like, let's go overhead and I'll show you what I mean. So if I have a 12 by 12 mat and I've got a 12 by 12 sheet, I'm trying to think of the best way to tell you all what I mean. Let's go into Design Space. Okay, so in Design Space, if you wanted to cut like 2 different colors of scrapbooking paper at a time, because you don't want to, like right now we've only got 3 mats, so it's like in my brain I'm thinking, oh, I can only have 3 sheets of scrapbook paper, I can only choose 3 patterns. Well, what if I want more patterns, which I do. I want like the most patterns of scrapbook paper. So I'm gonna leave this area right here on the left, I'm gonna leave that there, and I'm gonna scoot this last row all the way to the right, and then I'm gonna scooch these 2, and then let's actually flip this around so it fits nice and snug in there. This is a Lauren hack, I feel like. Okay, now what I wanna do, I want to cut 2 different patterns of scrapbook paper on this mat. So in Design Space, you can see those first 2 columns come to like right at the 7.5 mark. So I'm gonna cut a sheet of paper that is no longer than 8 inches, okay? So let's go back overhead. I've got I've got my paper cutter right here. And I don't want this any longer than 8.5 inches. Are y'all following me right now? Or are y'all like, what's she doing? Trust the process, I promise. Okay, I'm gonna pull this out. Okay, let's slide our paper in. I don't want it to be longer than 8 inches so that I can do 2 different colored scrapbook papers on my mat. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one on here. You can see it does not go past the 8-inch mark, okay? And now, let's go back into Design Space, and you can see I need to make this 1, 2, 3, no bigger than 4. So I need to cut another sheet no bigger than 4 inches. Oops, no bigger than 4 inches to go on the right side. So let's take this other sheet of paper, if we're overhead, and we want it no bigger than 4 inches. So here's my 4-inch mark. I'm just gonna bring it pretty close, but not all the way. I'm gonna cut it, and then we're gonna put this on the right side of our mat, okay? And then this way, we're gonna get to cut more colors of scrapbook paper for our thing. Does this make sense,
and
y'all?
technically, I love this hack of adding the different patterns on your mat. But I mean, if you wanted to go in and manually change the color and have a different color coordinate with a different pattern, you can do that in Design Space.
Yeah.
This is just a way that, because it does take a while to line up those hexagons and everything else, this is just a really quick way to, you know, make it work this way.
Right.
Now, when it comes to where we kind of hacked up and sliced out all of those different things,
yeah,
really what would have probably been better is just to keep them whole.
Right.
And it probably would have made it into 4 different mats or more.
It does.
And then you could have just cut it.
Right. That's exactly why I did it that way. That's why I did it that way the first time, because I thought, oh, like I'm gonna have to go and move all these now, which is fine.
Well, that's my bad. I was the culprit for this.
This is what it is. If you are very particular about having a perfect fit, do it the way that we've done it. If you are okay with like freehanding your cuts like me, just keep your hexagons whole and then trim them as you need them, if that makes sense. And I already pre-cut like a bunch of hexagons, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one. That way you all can see what it's gonna look like, what we just did. And then we'll lay out the other ones on here. So is that good with everybody? Like, I feel like that's good.
I think we're good.
Okay, let's go ahead and cut the ones that we were looking at. We're using a maker today, and our base material is going to be cardstock, just light cardstock. Where is she? There she is. And we're gonna hit done. We're using a fine point blade on default pressure. And we're just gonna slide this right in. Okay. This, Mindy, yes, you totally could change the colors. If you wanted to like keep up with how many you have of what, you can. It starts getting a little confusing. So that's why I kind of wanted it to be as simple as possible. Like if you have like 50 hexagons, all you have to do is go through and trim it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Rather than trying to like place little squares and figure out what pattern goes where and all that. So this is gonna cut that. But while it's cutting, we are gonna go ahead and start laying out our saran wrap. So I'm gonna move all this stuff out of the way. Now, if you all use these 8x8 inch ones, you're gonna do the same thing, the same process that I taught you all with moving your hexagons. You're just gonna wanna make sure that they're fitting within an 8x8 inch square on your mat before you go to make it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, it's really simple. Once y'all get into design space, try not to overthink it, because I don't want you to be like, well, she said to do it this way. It's crafting. I don't want us to forget that it's crafting, and there's no right or wrong way, really, to do things like this. It's your own. Make it your own. Okay, so I've got my plastic wrap. This is Dollar Tree saran wrap. And what I'm gonna do is take my scissors, I've just got a pair of regular scissors, and I'm going to find where this starts.
First of all, I don't know about you all, but finding where the cling wrap, plastic wrap starts is the bane of my existence. I hate it. I hate it.
I don't love saran wrap in general. I love it for this hack, but like just in life, it's kind of a pain, you know?
Kind of.
I'm like, why do you gotta be so sticky? Like, why you gotta be
so rude?
Why you gotta be so rude? So I am literally just like laying this out here, and I'm going to trim it up. Oh, the world's best scissors. I've got backup. Is it just me, or is like no one ever able to find scissors that work properly?
No, it's, yeah.
I can't ever find any. Okay, I'm trying to not bunch this up, but it's probably the saran wrap. It's not the scissors' fault. Maybe it is. So you're just gonna cut the saran wrap. Trying not to bunch it up. I'm gonna spread it back out. So just consider this your like layer of glue. This is your layer of Mod Podge. If you didn't know, Mod Podge is glue and water mixed together. That's it. If you don't have any Mod Podge on hand, but you do have glue, just mix it together.
Elmer's glue.
Yep. Okay. And then I'm just kind of stuffing it down in here. And you can even trim these little corners up if you have good scissors. I thought the orange ones I grabbed were good.
Would a true control knife work better?
Maybe.
I think it's just the plastic wrap, to be real honest.
It really could be. Let's try to just trim it with a control knife, a true control knife. Can y'all see what I'm doing?
Worse.
Well, it cut. I'm just gonna kind of tear it off. Yeah, it definitely did cut, but not well. Okay, let's just trim this off as good as we can. So you just want it to fit in there. You can kind of bunch it up in the corners, but like you don't want it to be super thick because your scrapbook paper won't lay thick. Or it won't lay flat, sorry. It won't lay thick. I don't know what even that means. Okay, so lay it down as good as you can. And then I'm gonna pull our mat off of here so you all can see what this looks like. So satisfying. Pulling that off is so satisfying. And then I'm gonna pull this off and you can see our little triangles. And so that, I feel like this kind of helps it make more sense now that it's all cut out. So you can just peel these off and sit them to the side. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn my mini press on. If y'all don't have a mini press and you're trying to make a Christmas list, go ahead and add it.
Yeah.
just go ahead and add, we use a mini press for, I would argue that we use it for like 90% of our crafts.
Oh, for sure.
We use it for everything. It's my favorite press. I haven't tried like a non-Cricut brand mini press, but I just love the size. Like I love the size. I feel like I can use it for so many different projects. Okay. So we've got our little hexagons here. And I like to just like make piles of all the colors that I'm using. That's like the easiest way to do it. And you can see I've already pre-cut a whole bunch of these. So let's make piles of our colors. Can y'all see all this? Okay. So I've got this green plaid is my favorite. These little green stained wood. There's a Christmas trees, this black vines, and then this one I really love too. Okay, so what I like to do, now that I've got my saran wrap down, I'm gonna go ahead and start laying out my hexagons. So you're gonna want the flat edge flush with the bottom of your tray. And I'm gonna start in the bottom at left. So this point will touch over here. I'm just gonna lay these out just like this. You can kind of pull your saran wrap taut. And then you're just gonna take another one and you can rotate through all of your different colors. Just like this. And you can see this is gonna overlap a little bit. Oh yeah. So this one won't lay completely flat, so I'm gonna have to trim it just a little bit. And I'm just gonna trim as I go. Okay. Oh, that was perfect. Wow, good job. Let me move my little squares down. Okay, so we're gonna lay them out first and then we're gonna iron them all on. Oh, and I need to turn my press on. I just said I was going to. I've got it on the second setting on the mini press. And then what you're gonna do on this next row, remember we've gotta come down. You can't line it up like this. You've gotta come down and kind of nestle it in between the two. So they're kind of sitting in the windows. I love this star pattern. It's very cute. Okay.
I'm like intently watching myself.
This is very therapeutic, like doing this project. It's just very relaxing to do. It's kind of like doing a puzzle-ish. Okay.
So I do have a question.
Okay, let's hear it.
If you got like a good section of your design down, but you didn't want to, you didn't want anything to move, could you iron down a larger section so that it kind of stays put and then keep going, or do you need to iron it all down at the same time?
You don't have to. Yeah, we can actually iron like this portion down and then that way, and then we can keep working.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that.
I was just curious.
Yeah, totally. You can do that. Let's add in, I'm gonna put a green here. I feel like it's painful to watch people place things when there's like no really right way to do it. You're just like, put that one there. That's the one I want. And then they don't. And you're like, oh, I don't want you to put that one there. Okay. So
it's a heart thing.
It is. Now, the only thing about ironing it on early is that you have to be really careful over here to not get your heat on your saran wrap, which we are going to put parchment paper over this. So once you get a good section, you can just take a little piece of your parchment paper. You don't even need a piece to cover the whole thing. Like you just need a small, let me just cut it. You just need a small little portion. Okay. And then I'm just gonna iron it like in little segments. And I'm actually gonna just kind of cut this a little bit shorter too. Okay.
So pretty much you kind of just need it the size of your iron and you can pick it up and move it as you iron?
Yes, exactly. Oh, my cord's short. Okay. And then you can just kind of hold your little paper pieces to make sure they don't really move. Okay.
Megan said, I'm not sure why, but this project is giving me anxiety.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I feel like saran wrap in general can do that to people.
It looks really pretty in the end if it makes you feel better. And listen, it's not for everybody either. I actually really enjoyed making this. The first time I made it, I was like, that was a cool project. Like, I felt really proud of it. But it is a harder project to teach, I would say, because I just was kind of like winging it. When I did it, I was just winging it. I just knew what I wanted it to look like, but I didn't really know like how to get there. So, which y'all know, y'all get it.
I feel like that's the majority of when we craft. Like, we just wing it.
Yes. And so
Can we do it? I don't know. We're going to find out.
We're fixing to find out. So I think I need to put a little bit more, like longer amount of heat. Like I'm just not staying on here long enough. And actually, I'm going to turn this up to the 3rd heat setting. See if that helps get it a little bit hotter. Because there's some parts that are sticking and some parts that aren't as good. Okay. And honestly, you could probably just like kind of sit it on there so it seals in really good too. And we'll go back in and add these little random pieces. That's like my last step. Oh, those are on there. Those are on there, people. They are sealed. Yeah. So bump up your heat setting to the 3rd. Do it to the 3rd. And just kind of hold pressure on the squares. That's going to keep it sealed better. Okay. I'm just going to keep working my way over. Does anyone have any questions? Yay.
Would butcher paper work or does it have to be parchment? No, this is just to create, it can be butcher paper. This is just to create a barrier between your mini Easy Press and the pieces of paper, because there may be instances where there might be a small gap between the pieces of paper and that saran wrap would just melt onto your iron.
Yeah, we don't want to get this saran wrap on the iron because that would be a hot mess express. Okay.
Yes, it is melting the saran wrap or the plastic wrap and making it stick to the cardstock, making the cardstock stick to the wood.
This black one moved a little bit. So I'm gonna, you gotta be careful because sometimes they like to move, and y'all can probably see right here, it's like a little bit off. All I'm gonna do is just trim. I'm gonna trim this little green piece, like just a hair. If you get it a little bit off, like I just kind of overlapped right there, honestly, you can't really tell. I know some people were like, I can tell, I can see it. We got to keep trucking, people. Okay. So I'm just going to hold pressure there. I'm not going to move it because I think where I was kind of ironing it like this, it was moving my pieces around a little bit, and I don't want that. We want to avoid doing that at all costs. All right.
Everybody's loving your color choices, by the way.
Oh, good. Honestly, the pack already picked the colors for me. So, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a different color scheme. That way, if anybody wants to use it, they can. Okay, so these are adhered. Adhered? You know what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and keep on moving down. Just going to keep on adding our little pieces. Okay. And then obviously we're gonna have to trim a little bit.
Would this work if your base is chipboard material instead of wood?
I think yes. I'm gonna say yes to that. I haven't done this technique on chipboard, but I feel like it's a similar texture, like wood and chipboard are so similar. I think that the saran wrap would definitely adhere to it still. Okay, do you know what movie I watched last night?
What?
Where the Crawdads Sing. Did you watch it yet?
Oh, I went to the theater and watched it. And
well, I knew you read it.
I've watched it twice since then.
You read it too, right?
I read it when it first came out, yes.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
It was good. It was.
Have you read it yet?
No, but I want to say, I feel like the book would be, which the book's always better, but I feel like the movie left out like chunks of
It did.
And I was like, I feel like I'm missing out something, like on something here.
You did.
Like you don't get as much like character development and like, I didn't really get like Chase's character that much.
I feel like if I hadn't read the book and I didn't know Kaya and like her backstory and really dove into that, like I would have been so confused for at least the first 30 to 45 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I felt confused whenever
Chase
came in. Yeah, because I was like, oh, first of all, gross, first of all. Like, excuse me, she already has a boyfriend. If you guys haven't watched it, you have to go watch it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, but I think I really should.
They also left off a huge part of the book in the very last of the movie that I didn't appreciate.
Okay, you'll have to tell me here in a minute.
Yeah.
All right. We're doing good. We're doing good. What's our time? Are we over time yet?
We are 12:03. We're good.
Oh, okay. Well, so y'all get the gist, right? Okay, let's go over to this left side. I want to show you all what I would do in these little holes right here. So I'm just going to take one of my little hexagons and like, you can obviously see like I need to put one here. Oh, yes, here. Can y'all see it better there? Okay, so I'm just going to kind of lay it here, and you can bend it and make even like a little bit of a crease if you wanted to. And then I'm just gonna trim that off with scissors. You can use a paper trimmer for this if you would rather. Okay, and that was so crooked. It was such a great job. Okay, and that's how you're gonna fill in those holes. And then you would just take your parchment paper, lay it on there. This parchment paper likes to curl up. Just lay it on there and then apply heat so that it adheres.
So we are not sealing the top of this. This is just a decorative piece. So obviously it's not gonna be a tray that you're gonna put like a cup that has condensation on the outside. No,
it's literally decor. This is literally
just a decorative piece. I mean, it's a $5 tray. If you wanted to put like a plate of cookies on it, I mean, it would be fine.
It would be cute for that. Yeah.
Right. But yes, this is just decorative, so we're not gonna seal it. We're not gonna
get crazy. Right. Now, so I just kind of did the same thing over here, and then you can take one triangle and lay it on top of your piece and just cut another one, because they're all gonna be the same size right there, because they're like right on top of each other. And so you can lay one here, and then you can do it and repeat the process all the way up. And then you're gonna iron those on. We'll go ahead and iron those on. And then I'm gonna show you all how to put the HTV on here as well before we go. I don't wanna keep y'all forever. Do you want me to finish it? I feel like it would take us another 10 minutes just to put it. It would take a while. So I'm just applying the heat. Uh-oh. That guy went a little crooked. Okay. So we would finish it all the way out, filling in all of our little gaps all the way across. And then what you're gonna do, this is the part where we apply our HTV. And I've already cut and weeded that. So you can kind of lay it out this way. What might even be easier, I've got my 2 pieces right here. I'm gonna cut them. And I'm gonna put one flush to the left. And then one flush to the right. And I wanna say that whenever you all cut these, whenever you iron these, they like to move. So just be
So it might be one of those things like keep the pressure. Don't really move your mini easy press around. Keep the pressure down, pull it up, move on to the next section.
Right. Okay, I don't need to use the parchment paper for this. I can just do it. What I am gonna do is use my hands to hold this in place. And I'm just gonna apply pretty firm pressure. And then I'm gonna come over here and apply pressure. I'm not moving it because it will try to slide around everywhere. Okay. I'm gonna lift this up a little bit because I don't want it to overlap. And this is going to be a warm peel.
So Sue asked, you can do this technique with one solid sheet, right? So yes, if you wanted to do just a solid sheet of paper, or you didn't want the design to be as intricate, like you didn't want the small pieces, maybe you just wanted a square and then like an outline of a square, or however, it doesn't have to be tiny pieces that you piece together for the saran wrap technique. So if you had like a wood round and you wanted to cover the full wood round and then lay a piece of paper over top of it, it's gonna work the same.
Right. And listen, I didn't turn my heat setting down. So it needs to be like on a medium heat setting, or your HTV is going to try to melt. So if you've still got it on the hot heat setting from fusing our little pieces to our wood, turn your heat setting down, or your HTV is going to try to like shrivel up. And if you hold heat for too long, it may also do the same thing.
So yes, Sherry had a good, she said there are so many ways you could do different designs for different times of the year. How exciting, absolutely. And that is a good, you know, right now we're doing Christmas, but Maker's gonna learn, and here you've seen us do Christmas. We're planning on doing Christmas in the future. Obviously it is Christmas season. But we have more, we have so many files, y'all. So if you are not a Maker's Gonna Learn member, getting in on that deal, our best deal right now, so getting yourself grandfathered in, $40 off our yearly membership. It gets you the Cricut reference guide right here, what we used to refer to it as the Cricut Bible, same kind of concept. It's just more in a more usable reference guide now. And we're sending you a free gift as well with the Cricut reference guide. I think it comes down to $151.88 for the full year. Plus you get thousands of cut files released new every month. I think we're up to 10,000 cut files now.
Something like that.
Or over. I mean, but you have to think we're adding 1,000 more every month.
Every month.
It's insane.
Month. Yeah.
Commercial licensing to use those cut files to turn around and make money.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
So it's it's a really good value, I think.
The brand of HTV that we are using is the Caesar Easy Weed.
Yes, Caesar Easy Weed's the only way, everybody.
I mean, Caesar Easy Weed or bust.
So there is our little thingy, and then that's it. That's the finished product. But you guys get it. I mean, you're just going to continue and you're going to fill it all in, and that's literally it. Now, if you really did want to put something on this, you could use resin. You could use Mod Podge, food safe Mod Podge, if you wanted to seal it on top. But the whole point is that you don't have to.
Using Mod Podge.
Right. Okay.
And taking a chance of that paper wrinkling.
Right. Like so.
We are getting the books shipped out to you. Please be patient with us. We are a small team, but we are working on those. We have had an influx of hundreds of people wanting those books. So just bear with us. We are getting those shipped out. They will be shipped out this week. So please just bear with us. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? If you weren't here at the beginning, make sure y'all come back tomorrow. We have a very special announcement.
Very, very special announcement.
Some really good news, especially if you're already a member,
yes.
I feel like. And it's very exciting. We're going to be maybe doing a giveaway.
For sure doing a giveaway.
So make sure that y'all are there for that. And if not, we will see our members in Thursday's masterclass. If you are a member, we're doing a Christmas card masterclass on Thursday. So get your card mats ready, get your card stock ready. And we will see y'all then.
Sounds good.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.